All right, this is SFBarkast. I am Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Lauder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are at TripleVoodoo Brewery and Tap Room.
And a lot of our listeners right now are saying, TripleVoodoo, I've smoked that from my dispensary before.
That's right.
But no, it's actually a brew bar.
That's
a
right.
Tap room, as they say.
Classic misdirect. TripleVoodoo is the brewery, and Tap Room is the marijuana strain.
Okay. Now, you've been inside dispensaries before. Is it true that they have all this, purple, like the names for pot nowadays are kind of rival the old names for acid, or like purple microdot?
Yeah, like that. That's like the one, I think, remaining obstacle towards like marijuana being taken seriously is that they have to stop naming everything fucking Scooby-Doo cookies or whatever. Everything. Drop the word Kush, drop the word fucking grape. Just start over with a new vocabulary and maybe you can come up with something that doesn't sound like a 4-year-old grew it.
There's a Bay Area comic who his stage name, and he does a lot of smoking pot jokes.
Right.
His stage name, and he wants to be known as Frosty Nugs. So shout out to Frosty Nugs.
See, that should be like a comedian from Alaska that does a lot of cold weather jokes. It's like, hey, check out my Frosty Nugs.
So what is this place called again? The TripleVoodoo.
TripleVoodoo.
Not to be confused with the Voodoo Lounge.
They started at Voodoo. They experimented with Double Voodoo, and they said, you know what? We're gonna go fucking TripleVoodoo for this brewery.
I don't know. We just need some little extra than the Double Voodoo to really put it over the top.
It's like, hey, everybody, who am I when I yawn like this? I'm somebody hanging out at a place called Double Voodoo.
Now who am I? Where I look like I've been up on cocaine for like 3 days.
Why, must 2.5 voodoo?
No. Think meth. Triple Voodoo.
That's right. I smoked so much meth that I came up with the name TripleVoodoo.
Thank you. People get paid a lot of money to do shit like that. I know somebody who
smoke meth and come up with voodoo?
Well, that's a different conversation, but... There are these firms that come up with like funny names for businesses, and they get paid, and you can get paid really well. I know somebody who paid $10,000 for someone to name her doggy daycare thing.
Oh, okay.
And they came up with Citizen Canine.
And if they charge more than $2, that was a
I know.
fucking
I could have
crime.
come up with that. We're in the wrong business, Andrew. Okay, so TripleVoodoo, where are we? Where is the TripleVoodoo?
The TripleVoodoo is on the corner of 3rd Street and 20th Street in the glorious and fully gentrified Dogpatch neighborhood.
Dogpatch neighborhood, yeah. This area down here, when I was riding my bike up 16th Street to come down here, I'm always amazed because there's these huge, medical centers. Like there's a University of San Francisco little station
it's like the Children's Hospital.
And then there's the UCSF where they do a lot of stem cell research.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is pretty new. I mean, this was all just pirates and hookers 20 years ago, right?
I've said this
super shuttle drivers.
Yeah, the super shuttle used to have their lot down here.
Right.
And
fall into the pirates, I think.
I swear everything changed once that ballpark went in.
Let's see.
The baseball park?
Yeah.
It's
totally.
that whole area, that China Basin area, was just abandoned bullshit, you know? And then suddenly you have the ballpark there, and then they put in the T-line, and then all of these little neighborhoods and Dogpatch get developed over.
Right.
I mean, this place. This is
such
really
a no-brainer when you think about it. I mean, you had the entire eastern waterfront of the San Francisco Bay Area, the most expensive area in the country. You had all this waterfront property that people are like, nah, fuck it, let it rot.
Nobody wants to live there.
It's Hunters Point, India Basin, those are the slums.
Well, the thing is, people would say oh yeah, Hunters Point, that's the bad neighborhood in San Francisco, but Hunters Point is nowhere near where we are, and it's kind of by association.
But Hunters Point is going to get totally swept in with this too, especially if the Warrior Stadium moves
Yeah, well, the Warriors Stadium's going to come in, and then there's that unconfirmed report that Facebook was looking into buying the area where Candlestick Park was and put their campus there. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Allure of Mountain View anymore, or whatever. Or
oh yeah, because everybody wants to live in Mountain View. Yeah, the entire economy here is just like exploded, which is incredible because you think like not too long ago, like everybody was unemployed and nobody could find a job.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody goes. Like now, if you don't have a job, you're like making a statement. By the way,
Like
I'm still unemployed. So yeah, I'm like basically the Fonzie or the rebel without a cause, rebel without a job.
Sounds like you're setting yourself up for a really difficult job search if you go into it with the attitude like, well, if I don't get a job the first day, I'm a goddamn failure.
Well, if you're not immediately good at something, Andrew, you shouldn't try.
Yeah, exactly. Like, whoever said you should try? That guy was a liar.
Maybe I'll do the old George Carlin tip for when you're interviewing. It's like, just walk in there, sit down like you own the place, and pick up the first picture on the guy's desk who's interviewing you and just go, who's the cunt?
It's like, that's my daughter, Rebecca Cunt.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar.
My last name is Kuntz, didn't I say?
Oh, you Chief J. Sackham heads? All right, so this is a brew pub.
It is.
And
it's kind of a real one, too. There's a lot of places that sort of call themselves brew pubs because they have, like, one little like brewing thing in the back or whatever. This place is like a legitimate brewery. There's
right, exactly. This is not your garage. Like,
exactly. This isn't your stupid weekend hobby.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. They have these
imaginary jerk that we're talking to.
You remember, like in the late '90s, everybody was getting into home brews.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a home brew.
And then everybody realized, like, well, that's stupid. There's places that do this for us.
Just so people know that in like the late 90s, home brews were so common that every idiot had one. Basically, they're like the old podcasts.
Exactly.
Every jackass had a home brew.
There are a couple of people, your Jimmy Dores and your Jimmy Pardos that came out with beers.
But yeah, they have these huge vats. And actually, when I walked in here, there's this smell, and it must be like the hops, right?
Yeah.
That like you don't smell anywhere else.
You think it's like Disneyland or something like that, where they pipe in the smell of the hops to like whet your appetite for beer?
Is that what they do at Disneyland?
I think there's supposedly they do that with like some ride or something like that, like or some restaurant where they pipe in the smell of like I don't know French toast or something, like make you order it. Some sort of like Walt Disney eugenics Nazi experiment gone wrong.
Well, there you go, Andrew. It is a small world. So when I walk in here and there's a smell that hits you, I feel like you would only like that smell if you're a beer drinker. Because like if you were a little kid that came in here, you'd be like, "Mommy, take me home. It smells awful."
It smells like Daddy's underwear.
Don't
ask me why I know what Daddy's underwear smells like.
It smells like weekend dad and regret. But yeah, they have these huge vats, and like they're not doing anything right now. But like I've watched them clean the vats and work on the brews and stuff, and it's pretty fascinating stuff.
So yeah, like as anybody who's seen Strange Brew knows, it's it's a fascinating line of work.
Yeah, how many people could you get into that vat?
I'm guessing common average sized person, at least 9 or 10.
How many dead hookers?
Ooh, you can fold dead hookers in half, so
right, exactly.
Like 18.
Depends on how you stack them.
Exactly. Were we talking European gross of hookers, or?
Yeah, use the metric system, Andrew. So you have a story about a friend. Like I've told this story a few times, but then I realized when I walked in here that it's actually your story, so I should let you tell it.
And the funny thing is, it's actually somebody else's story. So it's like, you're.
Any of this fucking true?
Right.
Do you work for the New York Times?
So anyway, President Obama was on Mars. No, like a friend of mine, I guess, in high school, everyone in this person's local high school was, and this is in Seattle, Washington. So if you're smart or if you're going to a decent school, you take engineering at University of Washington, then you go work for Boeing, and
it's not even like
all
a
hail
choice.
the white race.
It's not even a choice, right? Like
you just sort of
are like.
But it's like the children of like unoriginal Boeing engineers, like so it's like it's these people that are like, well, I can do this, or I guess I can sit around and like hang out with this Kurt Cobain guy that's going nowhere.
I can just imagine if a couple of parents in Seattle who are both engineers, one of them coming home and just being, do you know what your fucking daughter said to me today? She said she wanted to be a systems analyst, a fucking systems analyst. What the? Where did she get that idea, huh?
Not from me, not from my side of the family.
No daughter of mine is gonna analyze someone else's system.
But so anyway, like this guy, when faced with that obvious choice, instead, and the more I think about it, the more this is one of those like sort of maybe like rich kid stories where it's like, and then I decided to like go to Germany for a while because everybody can do that, right? Like,
Well, yeah, because the classic story is if you don't know what you do, you go to Europe after you graduate college, and you just
Right.
kind of bum around until
this guy
the money
skipped the
runs
whole
out.
college part. I think it's just like, you know what? I'm not gonna waste my time with the college part. I'm just gonna go with the screw around Europe afterwards part. And I guess he started working for a couple breweries there and like honed his skills. And lo and behold, he comes back to Seattle and like right in time for the sort of microbrew like
Right.
boom. And at least I mean like this is 20 years ago, but he's basically like 25 years old and was like the brewmeister for Red Hook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like like at the time and still remains to this day pretty
Then he
pretty
goes
big
back
beer.
to his dad, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, engineer this."
That's right. It's like next time one of your planes goes down, I'll buy you a beer. How's that?
Oh yeah, Dad, you're gonna build planes. Well, I'm gonna make beer so the pilots can get drunk on those planes. The
Damn straight.
cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
Like I'm not even sure why there are pilots on planes at this point. Like everything's automatic.
I've had this like theory about like flying planes where like there's all these like controls in the cockpit, but there's just one that says fly. You just press that, and like there's another one that says land, and you press that.
Right. It's like the letters FLY stand for some complicated like anagram, but it's actually just like no, it's not for anything.
I could
It's fly.
explain it to you, but you would need some flight training.
Or at the very least a Long Island iced tea.
Speaking of which, one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years is Flight.
Like really?
Oh yeah.
It was a really amazing movie, and it may be that high on my list too, because it was such a great, amazing performance. Really, like
It's an amazing performance, but also like narratively speaking, like when you're like 65% into the movie, you're like, I have no idea where this is going.
Right.
Like and there's plenty of movies where like they map it out for you at the beginning. It's like,
Right.
this is the Fellowship of the Journey, and we gotta get to there, and
Right.
and like you'll know when it's over. Like when I'm watching Flight, I'm like, is he gonna get away with this, or is he gonna get convicted?
And do I
Is he
want him to get away
Right,
with
yeah,
this?
exactly.
Or like,
You're just like, I had no idea where it was going, and there's some like great like, the crash scene is just amazing.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
they're just incredible.
So it's did Zemeckis do that?
Yeah.
One? Oh, okay. All right.
But like right before the crash scene, it's like he's making an announcement to he gets out of the cockpit and he's making an announcement to all the passengers, and like he's like they can see his hand, but he can't see his like left hand because he's like mixing drinks.
Right.
while he's saying, "Don't worry, we're gonna hit a little bumpiness over here."
Which, come on, we've all been there, like doing that at like 90 miles an hour on the freeway.
Speaking of drinks, I've been I had a very strict, like I wasn't going to drink a whole lot of beer. I just kind of changed my diet. And but today,
Let's change the definition of very strict for today.
yeah, exactly. Very strict means different things to different people.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't think of a better place than TripleVoodoo to, fall off that wagon.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I
not
just
like
don't wanna-
you're not drinking Budweiser here, goddammit.
Right. And I don't want anyone to get crazy. Like it wasn't like I wasn't drinking. I was just drinking
Yeah,
wine and
like-
hard alcohol.
Right. Like if anything, I was drinking harder stuff.
Right, exactly.
And so now I have to like take a step back.
But I will say I lost like 25 pounds by not
That's great,
drinking
yeah.
beer.
Perfect.
And like I didn't exercise or anything like that. And so my problem was I would always drink IPAs, and those are the heaviest ones.
I'm sure, yeah.
So long belt.
Excellent.
All right, you ready to take a break?
Sure.
And we will be back at the TripleVoodoo. All right, and we are back at TripleVoodoo.
TripleVoodoo.
TripleVoodoo. Voodoo. I was looking on their website. They didn't have like an explanation why it's called TripleVoodoo.
Yeah. Like not even a description of double voodoo and
No, not that either. Maybe we'll talk to the bartender and ask them during one of the breaks. Although one of the things I will say,
opening up a can of worms to me. Like,
you sure you want to
we'll
do that?
show you what voodoo is.
You want to talk to somebody else? One of the good things that you can always, if you're here, you don't have to worry about is bullshit pints. Because
True.
on their menu, you can any of their beers you can buy in 16 ounces, 12 ounces, or 8 ounces.
And I believe they also sell like growlers, like where you can take them home.
Everybody in the Northwest is into growlers too.
Yeah, it's like a big like I don't know. I only heard of it a few years ago, but like I'm sure it's been around longer than that. But yeah, that's like the big in the know thing. It's like, oh, I'm go get like housed at the bar and then take home 5 gallons of it to like drink later.
Honey, can you go to the store and pick up some baby food and a growler? Yeah, get back before the Sounders game is on.
Is there a Giants game tonight, by the way? Like,
I believe there is. Yes, the Giants are playing the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it's a big rivalry. Because everybody loves a good old New York rivalry, Dodgers versus Giants.
Exactly, like repurposed for California.
And yeah, those two teams hate each other, so that's pretty good.
It's sort of like an upcycling of a rivalry, or
Well, the Dodgers, the
reclaimed rivalry.
The Dodgers are supposed to be really good, and the Giants, by the first 2 weeks of the season, are not going to be that. So, I hope the Giants pull it together, but it's so predictable. Like, they win the World Series last year,
exactly.
and then they're in last place.
I'm amazed that anybody's expecting them to do well.
The Red Sox do this exact same thing. They won the World Series 2 years ago, and last year they were in last place. Now this year everybody's picking them to win the AL East.
Right.
That just must infuriate people who are Cleveland Indian fans or some shit like that.
It's like, oh, we only win every other year.
Exactly, and then we're in last place. Who cares? So, Andrew, can I tell you, you've known me for quite some time.
Well, I pretend to.
And in that time, have you ever known me to do something stupid?
You know what? I don't.
Well, let me tell you, I have done many a stupid thing in my life.
All right, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
And something...
What's the latest?
I did something recently that, in the canon of stupid shit I've done in my life, has to rank pretty high up there. Wow. So your mind is reeling, right?
Bated breath.
So I went to a concert at the chapel.
Terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. There's more.
Oh, my God. No.
The chapel, local smallish venue. I believe we saw Todd Berry there.
Yep, on Valencia Street.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful venue.
Totally, yeah.
And it's not too big, so you don't, it's if you get
so
to
far
see
so good.
So far so good. And I was talking to friend of the show Parker Gibbs.
Parker Gibbs can't lose.
Yep. Not a member of the Barry Gibbs.
No.
But I was talking to Parker Gibbs, who also has he's a DJ, and he goes by the moniker DJ Food Court.
Indeed.
So I'm talking to him, and he knows I love the Replacements. And he said, hey, man, so did you see the Replacements? And I was like, oh, no, but I bought a ticket. When's the show again? He's like, last week. Yeah. I bought a $100 ticket to see the Replacements, a band that, was broken up for a long time. This is their reunion tour. And I probably stayed home and watched reruns of Good Times.
You got to be able to sell that to, some Replacements fan, right? That wants an unused ticket.
Oh, no. This is my defense, and it's really not. It's a very flimsy, right. Aaron Hernandez defense.
Yeah.
My problem is, back in the day when you bought a ticket, they handed you a physical thing, and then you put it on your bulletin board or your refrigerator, and you're oh, it's always there.
Carry it around in your pocket. Every time you spend money, you go, oh, yeah, I got that concert coming up.
Yeah, now when I bought the ticket online, they were like, okay, so here's a PDF, just print it up when you...
And you're like,
and I was like,
trash.
Oh, I'll get around to that. I'll get around to that. Yeah,
you just immediately drag it into the trash. You're like, who cares? Junk mail.
Spam folder. There is a silver lining, possibly, to this story of stupidity.
Does it involve Paul Westerberg coming to your house and playing a makeup date?
I wish. But Parker told me that night, he's like, oh my God, he's like, that's so horrible. He's like, if you can get to if you can get to Denver in the next 2 days, I can get you into the show backstage because like his like best friend is the stage manager or something like that. So I couldn't do that because I would have to. I looked into tickets for the next day,
right.
and like because it was like the next day, they like all the tickets to
like
Denver.
$1,500 to fly to Denver or something.
Which no, it's like $400. It usually costs $200 to get to Denver.
Yeah,
and it's like $430 to get if you want to go the next day.
Totally relying on people running out of weed. Like,
no.
how much it cost to get to Denver? $1 million.
Well, here's the thing. Like, they're at the flights, the airlines. Their attitude is, well, if you're looking for flights for the next day, we know you got to be there, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're gonna jack up the prices. But my take is like, fuck you. I don't have to be there. So like, I was going to go if it was affordable,
right.
And now you don't. Now instead of getting twice your amount of money,
frees them up to gouge someone else whose parents have died or something like. Like, well, thank God, no problem. We'll just sell this ticket for $1,000 to somebody whose mom croaked.
I didn't even think about that. I know they have bereavement fairs too, but like that is such
like
a
garbage.
hassle. Like you basically you go into your mom's funeral and you pay like twice
as
much to go back.
Wheel over a dead body and we'll give you 20% off.
No, you have to like come up with a photocopy of the death certificate. You're at your mom's funeral and just like, right. Hey, has anyone got that death certificate around here?
I need to save some do-re-mi on my.
Hey, your mom just died. I know, but it cost me an extra $300 to get here. So
yeah, my mom died, not my bank account.
She's taking it. She's taking it with her to the grave. So Parker told me he can get me in if I got to Denver. So I didn't go to Denver, but he said if I look at the rest of their schedule, he'll get me into one of their shows if I want to go. Yeah. So I am eyeing.
You better hurry up before they're in like Budapest or something.
Well, here's the thing: they're playing in D.C.
Actually, that'd be a good idea. Go to Budapest.
No, hold on. Don't get ahead of you. They're playing in D.C. and Philly, and I can get to D.C. for free because I have like miles with Virgin. Right. So I am going to D.C. and then I have a friend who works for Obama and hitting him up for like a tour of the White House. So I could do that.
Yeah.
And next thing, I could be in the Rose Garden of the White House, like blasting cocaine like a Villanova like championship basketball team.
Make sure that like when you get that tour of the White House, be like, "Thanks a lot, Obama." Like, well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That's like one of those things where like you have to make that joke. Like right. Mike Pesca, who does the Gist, he says like whenever he's actually in Grand Central Station, he always makes the joke, "What is this, Grand Central Station?" Or it's like if you ever meet somebody whose name is Einstein, you go like, "Yeah, nice job, Einstein." So
that's why Albert Brooks changed his name probably.
So I'm eyeing going to D.C. or Philly for the replacement show, and if not, their last 3 shows are in London, Amsterdam, and Porto, Portugal.
Ooh, geez, I would go to Porto.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, fucking A.
I don't know anything about I know a lot about.
I've seen pictures of Porto. It's beautiful. It's like there's bridges everywhere and like
wow, bridges.
It's probably good seafood. It's probably people with relatives in New Bedford or Fall River.
I don't know anything about Portugal, but I know a lot about Portuguese.
See, like you'd probably be amazed. Like I'm willing to bet that the people that remained behind in Portugal are of better caliber than the ones that moved to Massachusetts. Only based on the ones I've met.
Somebody also told me like when you go to Portugal, like Portugal and Spain, like the women there are just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it would be shocking for me because like I grew up with a lot of Portuguese girls, and it'd be like, well,
you're like, where's your mustache?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be in Lisbon. It's like, the women don't have any mustaches.
That girl's eyebrows aren't connected at all. She's like the sexiest woman here.
So there's another option. So this like story of stupidity may have, a happy ending after all.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's going to be turned from the dumbest thing you ever did to the thing that you brag about to try to have sex with 20-year-old girls.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Does the name Paul Westerberg mean anything to you, Missy? No? Okay.
Hey, Maria, you want to go backstage and meet Paul Westerberg?
I got Tommy Stinson's phone number on my phone. It's like, what? Who cares?
What else is going on?
Did you see? Okay, I want to like bring this one up because I saw on a friend of the show, Kevin Montgomery's website.
Oh, right.
He mentioned seeing, or had a picture actually of a casting call for a television show that wants to film in the area called 94110, and it's basically going to be Beverly Hills 90210, but in the Mission.
In the Mission, right.
And how could that be anything but great?
So this photo, George Chen posted it as well. This photo was like going around Facebook and social media, and it's basically an open casting call.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a show that takes place in the Mission about, like, I don't know, internet people. Imagine that. So it's sci-fi, science fiction, right?
Yeah, so it's an unfunny Silicon Valley based on 90210.
Now, here's the thing. When you read Kevin's article a little bit more,
Okay.
it starts to sound pretty dubious because they're like, oh, we don't have like our funding yet, and we're interviewing for...
Is this one of those improv everywhere jokes?
Yeah, well, it's like they don't have all of their funding, and they have no parameters for who they're auditioning.
Right.
So you can be any race, any age, any gender, any transgender.
They just want to like try to like put together a bunch of YouTube videos of like wacky people in the Mission. Like, screw you.
It feels like they don't have any direction whatsoever. It's like we don't have a script. We don't have really. We don't have cameras yet, and so
it's like that terrible like Jogo Lev, Joseph Gordon-Levitt show that was on like.
Jogo Lev?
Like Jogo Lev. He had like some show on I don't know, Spike or something like that where like it was basically like the whole show's up to you. You send in the footage and like, you know, we'll improv out an idea and then you film it and like
that just sounds like the dumbest thing in the world.
It is.
Also,
like
it sounds like those people put like absolutely no work into their show and they're totally not prepared. Do you have anything else to talk about?
No, did we already talk about beer barrels?
No. Okay, so all of this being said about this 94110
right.
television show, it sounds awful. It sounds like it's not. It sounds like it might be a practical joke. Sounds like it. Even if it gets off the ground, it sounds like it's going to be awful.
I think Kevin Montgomery would be a good David Silver character, though.
David Silver?
Yeah, he's from 90210, Brian Austin Green.
Andrew, you know I'm not going to get those references.
So one for my wife.
All of that being said, I so want this show to happen.
Me too.
And only because I am in that zip code 94110. Okay, and then I'll be like, yeah. They make shows about my fucking zip code. Yeah, no big deal.
It's like, I'm the other zip code. The other one's Beverly Hills. Maybe you heard of that?
No, whatever. I can tell everybody it's like every character's based on my life. Even the transgender homeless dude. Yeah, that's based on me.
So speaking of which, have you watched any of the new season of Silicon Valley yet, or?
I watched the first episode, and I've kind of fallen off. I mean, how many episodes have there been? Like 3?
Oh, only 2.
Okay.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 at the most. But like.
Okay. Yeah, I watched the first episode of that, and I watched the first episode of Veep, which I'm still in love with Veep.
Veep remains the best show on television, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I of course I would argue with Archer, but like, come on, I'm not gonna make this fight because we're both winners.
Right. Splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, Veep is a great show. I watched all 4 of those leaked episodes of Game of Thrones.
Nice.
And I don't want to give anything away,
but
Darth Vader is Luke's father.
What?
I went
to Padre?
I saw the Alan Strickland Williams show at Doc's Lab on Monday night.
Is he the guy that played for the Sixers last year and then got traded to the
Michael Carter
Bucks?
Williams.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
Alan Strickland Williams is a really funny LA comic, and if anyone gets a chance to see him, please check him out. And super nice guy too.
Nice.
He does a great bit. He does this bit like, remember the old George Carlin bit, like baseball versus football?
Right.
He does kind of a similar bit called sun versus moon. Like, what's cooler?
Okay.
It's actually really funny. Great guy. Definitely check him out. What else? I went to a trivia night recently. And
Really?
I say recently, it was last night. And
Ooh.
I run, as you know, I run a trivia night myself at the right spot.
Yeah, so you're coming at this from a stance of knowledge, like
At the right spot, first Wednesday of every month.
Did they
May 6th.
did they recognize you and shower you with gifts as you walked in?
Well, here's the thing. I went there basically as a spy in the House of Trivia. And because...
Saddest thing I've ever heard.
Didn't the Doors write a song about that?
Yeah, I think so.
And because the one that I went to at Gashead, one of our last bars that we did, it's a brainstormer trivia, and it is
What does that mean?
it's corporate. It's corporate trivia.
Oh, I see.
So the girl who was like really nice, Jennifer, who ran it, she basically is like online, and they like feed her.
She's like a robot.
She's like a replicant. That's what I'm saying. And
No, wait, was she actually there, or was she
there.
on TV or something?
No.
Oh.
No, there was no TV. She's like some like girl in front of a green
She's
screen.
a hologram, like walking around the place.
So, and let me tell you something. Like, I've been running a trivia night for months now, and actually competing in a trivia night, it's kind of hard. It's a little bit harder than I thought.
Like, you're having like a Alex Trebek disease. It's like not so fucking easy when
exactly.
the questions aren't in front of you.
Actually, like there were, and like I suffer from like sort of like if you get like brain freeze on something and you're like, oh my god, like
it's like the most frustrating thing ever.
It's the most, but there's got to be like a mental sort of exercise to get that out. Because I had one
crystal meth. I think.
Yeah, it's called take your phone to the bathroom and look it up. So I had one last night where I was going insane. It was a picture round, and they had like here 2 flags, the Mexican flag, the Welsh flag. No problem, I got it.
Sure.
Picture of Rashida Jones, got it, no problem. And then they have a picture of this one actor, and I'm just like, oh my god, who the fuck is that guy? And
Can I guess?
Yeah, well, I'll start telling you the movies he's been in.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
He was in
French Stewart.
He was in G.I. Joe. He was in 21 Jump Street.
Oh,
he was in Magic Mike.
God damn it! Wow, see that's the same thing is happening to me now. I don't know, Chandler Cousins.
It's so close.
I know, like shit. What the fuck is his name? Wow. You know what?
Well, there's this like thing like I went to the bathroom and
that's like a perfect celebrity for that to happen with, because like you're like, oh wait, like I'm thinking of Paul Walker or
yeah, exactly. So I went to the bathroom and I tried to clear my head, and then like because there was all this noise and stuff, and I just couldn't get it out, and then I finally like when it was like she was coming
Channing
around.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Right.
When she came around to get the answer sheet, I just went Channing Tatum. And it was just like, it is so annoying.
Right. Yeah. Because like
it's right there.
It's something that you know, like the back of your hand, and then like.
What did you say, Chandler Parsons?
Does he play for? See, like wait, like who's the Chandler?
Chandler Parsons.
Chandler Parsons, like the place for the Mavericks.
Mavs,
I think.
yeah.
Like like and is injured now.
But yes, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, not Chandler Parsons, not Tyson Chandler.
There was one interesting or controversial thing that happened, or a couple controversial things. At one point, there was this one dude at the end of the bar who wasn't playing, but whenever the girl was talking with the questions, he would get much louder. And I've heard, and I don't think he was doing this on purpose, because like someone told me this, like when we would have after hours parties at my apartment, someone told me like you need to turn the music down, because when the music's even relatively loud, everybody tries to talk over the music. So it's like she's like, if you turn the music down, everybody will bring their voice down as well.
Yeah,
and it works like a fucking.
Because no one wants to like say like Hitler was right, like at full volume when there's no music in the bar.
The Holocaust was
a million
hoax.
times.
Oh, right. So
Building 7. Oh,
So whenever like the girl was like talking, this guy was getting louder to get so his
Right.
friends could hear it. But like he was really out of control. And then when they were playing the music round, he was like really shouting. And then this old man like turned around and goes, "Hey, be quiet." And then this guy was like, "Hey, fuck you! I'm in a bar. I'll be quiet." And then, like it's like he's like fuck that guy. And he's like yelling, and I'm like, holy shit! Am I gonna have to separate this like young dude and this old man?
Right.
And then like afterwards, like the guy apologized. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I just got out of hand there." And that stuff. He's like, "I'll buy you a drink or whatever." And also like I had a partner last night who, and here's the thing: if you're on a trivia team, you
Got to cut out the dead weight.
no. And if anything, I was the dead weight in this trivia team. But if you're on a trivia team and you get something wrong, you have to understand. This is my opinion, and maybe because I play too many team sports,
Right.
it's like you win as a team, you lose as a team, right? You don't
Sure.
go start like I told you it was this, that kind of like and that just
yeah.
like just kills me, kill the mood,
Right.
And in his defense, I talked him out of putting something in there because I thought it was a dumb answer.
That happens. I mean,
And-
like, yeah, that's not the end of the
And
world.
of course it was right.
Yeah.
And he was just like, wouldn't let me forget it. And I was like,
Ugh.
dude, shut up, dude. But like the question was, the traditional Hawaiian pizza is comprised of what two ingredients?
ham and pineapple, right?
That's what I said. He said it's Canadian bacon and pineapple. And
Well,
I was like, dude,
they're the
that's
same
I was like
thing, kind of.
I was like, that's stupid. I was like, are you trying to tell me the traditional Hawaiian delicacy has anything to do with Canada? And I was like, I've had Hawaiian pizza a lot. And he's like, oh, I used to have it with my mom. And I'm like, fuck your mom. I was like, we're putting ham and pineapple. And so we put ham.
I used to have it with your mom too.
So we're putting ham and
And by
pineapple.
it, I mean like.
I used to give your mom a Hawaiian pizza, if you know what I mean. So of course we put on ham and pineapple.
I used to go
and-
ham on your mom.
All right, knock it off. And then it's Canadian bacon and pineapple. And the thing is, like, I'm like,
Canadian bacon is ham. That's like that. That's horseshit. Like,
and I mean, like, and what am I gonna do? Like, fight the woman who's
Right.
reading the questions from from Skynet?
Canadian bacon is like the worst thing that Canada's ever done.
You mean
Because,
the
like,
movie?
No. Well, yeah, that too. But that wasn't a Canadian movie, was it? That was Michael Moore. I
Michael
think.
Moore, yeah.
But like, just the idea that you took. I mean, like, bacon's a pretty fucking great product, like on its own, and you were like, let's like get a worse cut of meat. We'll make it round and taste and look exactly like regular ham, and then we'll call it Canadian bacon.
And you know what? I've had
Like, screw you, Canada.
I've
That's
had
what I'm
Hawaiian
saying.
pizza. I'm sure you could look up like Hawaiian pizza on many websites, and it'll just say ham and pineapple.
Right. You know
So,
what?
whatever.
I've been to Hawaii, and I've had Hawaiian pizza in Hawaii, and it had ham on it.
Wow.
You fucking Canucks.
Well, also like only a few times when I've been running a trivia night have people come over and like, challenge something I've
Right.
my answer, my research.
It's also
And
about Canadian bacon.
in the in the one instance where I did realize that there was some question over something, so I should have like shied away from this one question.
Right.
But also when you're running a trivia night and most of the people who are there because they're friends of yours and like those people have no problem coming over to you and saying, hey, that was so stupid. That's a stupid question. Or
Right.
because last night their specialty round was all about pizza. And it was completely fucking stupid. And I wasn't going to go over
Like
to the girl.
sponsored by Domino's or something? Like,
Yeah, it's like, who are the cartoon characters who fight crime and live in the sewer and love pizza? It's like
the Noids.
Yeah. So they have that over me. But I like being more of a trivia jockey of the people.
Exactly.
I'm more
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah, like you're
People
not.
feel
You don't
like-
have ulterior motives. You're not trying to like sell shit. You're not trying to like direct people towards like value beverages or like
People feel like they can tell me to go fuck myself.
exactly.
That's kind of something that's carried over from my real life.
We were like questions from the '90s. You can go fucking hang yourself. Like, well, what? I
Well,
was
we'll get
alive
around
then.
to that later, but yeah. So can we finish the contest? All right, are you ready to take a break? Enough of me complaining about trivia contests.
Indeed. I don't have any trivia contests to complain about, so I feel left out.
That's good because you go to mine, and it's perfect.
And I'll find plenty to complain about.
All right, this is SFBarkast. We are at TripleVoodoo in Dogpatch. We'll be back.
Voodoo!
All right, and we are back at the TripleVoodoo in Dogpatch.
Los Tres Voodoo.
And guess what? Remember earlier in the show when we wondered why it was called TripleVoodoo? I did a little research, which entailed going to the bartender and talking to somebody.
Which included walking behind the bar and saying, I work here now.
So I asked the bartender, is there a reason why it's called TripleVoodoo? And she told me because there are 3 founders. That's the triple part.
Okay. I'm following you so far.
And, you're like, I don't follow you. And voodoo is because they said
because it's awesome. No, that'd be great if that was the explanation.
It's because they bring the dead back to life in a voodoo festival. No, because they have always considered brewing to be kind of a voodoo art, where you take these very simple elements or ingredients, and then you turn it into this like beautiful like product.
Sounds like a real bastardized description of voodoo. It seems like if I actually believed in voodoo, I'd be like, oh, so you took my the foundation of my religion, and you said, hey, that's kind of like making beer.
I know, and some of our listeners out there who are witch doctors are already starting to get upset.
No shit. Like,
please don't write in. We didn't come up with the name. We didn't mean to insult you, witch doctor.
When I started this Barcast, I didn't think we'd be like serpent and rainbowed and buried alive. But I guess that's where we are.
It's a beautiful Bill Pullman reference.
Are you sure it's not a Bill Paxton reference?
No, I'm sure. I've seen that movie. I mean, I don't know. Could be anything.
Why would anybody see the serpent and the rainbow? That's stupid.
But, I give the 3 guys credit who founded this place for just calling it TripleVoodoo. Yeah. And because the triples for the 3 of them, not coming up with some stupid name for them like the Bon Vivants.
Well, there's a place, too, that I've yet to visit, even though it's in the town in which I live. But it's a brewery that was, I believe, started by some internet millionaires.
What?
I can't imagine. But they have named the thing Cleophas Queelies. And it's
Jesus
in the
Christ.
whole I think probably the reason I haven't gone there yet is that just the whole name and concept sounds so intolerable.
Now, am I just in the dark here? Why is it called that stupid name? Is that a reference to something that I don't know about?
I don't think so. I think it's just an old timey sounding name where it's like. It's like Cleophas Queelies, old-fashioned
tonic water
brewery and Cracker Barrel.
So they dress with striped pants and
I bet they do.
Sell snake oil.
We went to the Devil's Acre. That guy, you couldn't get a job without having a ridiculous curly Q mustache in that joint.
But Andrew, that is in downtown San Francisco. You're talking about downtown San Leandro.
Well, but these are these are new millionaires. They can't exactly jump right into San Francisco off the bat.
They're like, you know what? What are we going to spend our money on?
I'm going to gentrify Tracy.
Let's bring all of that San Francisco bullshit to the East Bay.
Right.
Because, the people in the East Bay, they love it. So during the break, we got a sampler of 6 beers.
We did.
And so we were sipping them all and trying to, and I'm sorry, the only one, it's tough because my palate is so goddamn crude.
Right.
I just drink one and I drink the other and I can still taste the first one. And so I'm just kind of
was I supposed to have a cracker or something?
I can't really tell if which ones are good or not. I know there's one that tastes like malt liquor and you should probably not stay away from that.
Yeah,
but these
I
are good
a
beers.
little taste to the 6 types of beer that they put in their taster, and so I'll name them really quick and just give a quick overview of what I thought about them. Slice of Darkness, a dark saison.
Coffee.
It tastes like a cup of coffee. It was actually, I enjoyed it. And I don't normally like the saison style of beer.
Now, what is saison?
I think it's, I'm not exactly 100% sure or even 1% sure.
Saison what?
But but I think it's like a lot of like sour sort of beers are saisons.
I'm
like,
not warming up. Well, I'm out of the beer. I'm out of the beer game like now anyway. But like I cannot imagine every bar I go to has a sour beer.
Yeah,
I can't imagine how. I understood when
it's like, oh, this is good, but it would be better if it wasn't sour.
When IPAs hit the scene, I understood it because people were like, "Hey, you know what? It's higher alcohol and it's like kind of got a bite to it, and you can really taste the hops." The sour thing, I just cannot wrap my head around why someone would want to put that in their mouth.
Yeah, it almost seems like one of those things where it's like, oh, like, you know, I have to say that I like sour beer because it'll like tell everybody that I have this like, you know, wide-ranging palate or something. And it's like, well, you can, you know what, like, it's a free country. You can say that it's sour and it sucks. You know, it's like you don't have to be like, oh, I understand why everybody likes it.
Maybe that's like the entire like, you know, promotional campaign for sour beer. It's like peer pressure. It's like I don't want everybody to think I'm a goddamn Philistine.
Exactly. Like
I better like start drinking this stuff I hate.
Moving on to number 2, and that is the Outlaws Gold Blonde Ale. Actually, totally forgettable. So let's move on. Number
Next.
3 was Triple in the Fifth,
which is a baseball reference.
But yes, you think so. But it's also misspelled because it's TRIPEL, which is like a type of like hopped Belgian beer.
It's a delicious pun.
Delicious, you say?
I'd say this beer. The name of this beer comes from Beyond Punderdome.
I would say that this this beer is like so full of puns. It should be a guest on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
So that's the one that's the high alcohol. That's the only one that like sticks out. Because
Temple in the Fifth, there's a Belgian triple that's like 11%, and I found it to taste like Mickey's. Like a malt liquor, you know, to be honest.
Do you know, like, when you see these maps of your tongue, and it says, like, you can, this side of the top of your tongue is where you taste, like, sweet things, and then sour things are on the side, and bitter things are over here. There's got to be...
Jizz is in the back of the throat. That's a terrible joke.
You'll be the worst guy in an anatomy class. Isn't that right there, Professor? Yes, Andrew.
Am I right in assuming that you don't have a question, Mr. Lauder, but it's just another dick joke?
Yes, Andrew. Jizz is in the back of the throat, and you get an F. But I was going to say there's got to be like a portion of like your tongue, because as soon as I tasted that, I was like, that's high alcohol. As soon as it hit my mouth, I'm like, maybe it's just from years.
It's like a safety device. Like you're like something in your brain goes like, hey, wait a minute.
Evolution.
Like, hey, wait. Oh.
Evolution at work.
Your entire brain turns into like this cautious guy from New England. It's like, hey, watch it. Hey, look out.
Hey, dial that back. Don't drive tonight.
It's like, hey, oh. But, okay, so number 4 is, I think this is like their most popular beer, but it's the Inception Belgian Golden Ale.
The taste of that is a very confusing plot.
Yes, definitely. I thought that
Tom Hardy was good in that beer.
He was, but I thought that Ellen Page was not used to her full.
The Ellen Page ingredient in that beer was maybe not used to her full potential.
Yeah, exactly. But I like the score, and it got people talking.
It's definitely worth a second viewing or a glass.
Certainly a lot better than that Robin Williams fucking Nightmare in Alaska or whatever.
I like that one too.
No,
I like that beer as well. Insomnia.
Okay, so number 5, moving on, would be the Stag number 5 Extra Pale Ale, and that was also very forgettable. So moving on from that.
I'll try that. Let me just try that again there while you talk.
The final Taster Flight beer from TripleVoodoo in Dogpatch is the King Leo Belgian Stout. 8% alcohol, 40% IBUs, and you know what? Pretty good. Like, don't hate it.
Andrew Lauder, why did you gong the Stag Hop number 6?
Well,
I will do anything to bring back the Gong
Chuck
Show.
Barris.
I will do anything. I will do anything to bring back the Gong Show. They've tried to do that
so much, and like like I feel like that they were right in assuming that if anybody could do it, it was Dave Attell.
Right? Yeah.
Like, but they just like I don't feel like they gave it enough time or enough rope. Clearly like what made like the Gong Show so huge.
We're done with beer, by the way. Gong Show time. So what made the Gong Show so huge was the cocaine.
Well, that
and then after
it pushed so many boundaries where it was when you watched the Gong Show in the 70s, you thought, I didn't think they could fucking show this. Like, what are they? Is somebody asleep at the wheel? Like, what's going on? You just have this image of like a censor sleeping while like two twins like sucking a popsicle goes on the air. It's just like, wow, like this is great.
Yeah, exactly. You did get the feeling where it's just like
I am totally going to see J.P. Morgan's tits if I watch this long enough.
No, you kind of felt like you were like, yeah, you know what? Like we gotta watch this before it gets banned.
Yeah, exactly. It's like two things are going to happen. Either it's going to get canceled in a blaze of glory, or Chuck Barris's heart's going to explode on national television.
By the way,
either way, I'm in.
If you were backstage at the Gong Show and you're like cutting up the lines of coke before you go to on camera, and you do
that with like a machete or something. You just have this like huge like line field,
and you see Jamie Fa walk in with that big nose. You're like, oh shit, I didn't bring enough blow.
It's like you hear all those stories about the set of Cannonball Run where like they ran out of coke and suddenly Dom DeLuise couldn't function anymore.
So what? Let's switch gears here.
Yeah,
okay,
there's one thing I want to get off of my chest before this becomes too stale.
Sure.
And like,
why not?
And there's been like a few opportunities to bring this up, but like I just didn't before. But like, there was this incredible article, and like I don't know whether to give Kevin Montgomery any credit for this or not, but like
give it to him.
Why not? Yeah, like
who cares?
It's like so. Anyway, this article called "I Love Hitler." No, wait, that's a different article. So the owner of Borderlands Books.
Oh right, here we go.
A guy named Alan Beats made this really tortured, terrible analogy about how the minimum wage, or why the minimum wage is destroying businesses in the mission. And so he compared the bookstore to an ailing man with heart disease who smokes cigarettes and has lung disease, and then decides to consume a large quantity of methamphetamine. The theoretical man suffers a heart attack and dies. He wasn't doing great to begin with, Beats reasoned, but it's the meth that actually killed him. So it is with Borderlands and the minimum wage increase, which is ridiculous.
So basically he's saying is that yeah, my business sucked already.
Right.
And therefore, the minimum wage increase was the fucking straw that broke the camel's shitty bookstore back.
In case you weren't paying attention, in my own analogy, my business is heart disease.
And you know what? I didn't ever want to say anything shitty about Borderlands because Borderlands is a...
It seemed like a good venture.
Yeah, well, also, it's a sci-fi...
Lost Weekend or something like that. Same kind of deal.
It's a sci-fi fantasy bookstore, okay? And, it's nice to see that something in such a niche, category can, flourish. But, on the way out the door, if you're, not doing well, you got to take some credit for that.
You probably life isn't always fair, and just because you started a business in an industry doesn't mean that industry will continue to grow to the point that makes you a billionaire automatically.
Right, and
it sucks sometimes.
I was told that it was. First off, it was Captain Jack's. It was a thrift store, and then it was Borderlands, and Borderlands is the sci-fi fantasy bookstore I talked about. And then they took over the space next to it, and I heard that because Borderlands was doing poorly, they opened up the second side as a coffee shop, and the coffee shop was booming because people cannot get enough of coffee or cocaine. Virtually anything from Colombia, people in the mission love.
Right.
Okay.
Helps me work.
So now I guess they the guy's going out of business and he's blaming the minimum wage when, like, okay, so you failed at a sci-fi fantasy bookstore. No,
Right.
anyone could fail at that. But then you also failed
now. Like,
and then you
no
also
way to
failed
not fail
at the coffee shop, which is
Yeah.
kind of hard. I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. Maybe his landlord's a dick and he tripled the business. But the thing is, like,
Still,
really, like,
I
mean, like, the whole concept of minimum wage, it goes back to that Kids in the Hall sketch where there's just like, the guy's he's going public with the notion that he's telling people, like
if I could pay you less, I would. I swear.
I really would have survived if they would just let me pay them less.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing is that people that are like business first and like let's get out of the way of business and everything like that, like they always say like, well, the open market will will self-correct and like and that the businesses that deserve to go out of business will go out of business, and businesses that deserve to
totally
succeed
disagree with that, of course.
will succeed. But the thing is, like, even if you buy into that concept, then this all goes against that. It's like, okay, you know what, this business can't succeed anymore, and if you want to try to make it succeed for another couple of years on the backs of your employees, like, that's immoral and wrong. Like, it's just, it's terrible that you would even think that.
Also, that whole concept of
it's
like
inhumane and unnecessary.
all those market first, like, what is it, Milton Friedman people?
Yeah.
Like, they're operating like it's a level playing field. It's like have you ever played? I play poker a lot. If you ever play poker with somebody who's like really rich, and like
it's kind of pointless, right?
Well, it's like the thing is like we're playing like nickel. We're playing dime.
Yeah, raise you $500.
And the thing is like people who are rich or people who have gambling problems, they just stay in and they try to like run everybody out. It's not fun. You know, I played with Tony Shea at my place once, and like he just kept staying in, and he was kind of fucking up all the bets because he's a multi-millionaire.
Was he like mentioning like other business deals he has going on where it's like, I'm staying in because God damn it, downtown Las Vegas is going to work.
We had a guy playing at my place last week who was completely fucking up the bets because he would just stay in for everything, and people are like reasonable people, but like they don't want to like have to keep buying in.
Right.
And like I don't know. And so that's what my analogy when it comes to like
who the hell wants to play with like someone who's just going to swing their dick at and try to hit you in the face with it.
I got off subject here. Like the point was, it's not a level playing field. So like basically, if the market is going to like squeeze out like all the bad businesses that don't deserve to be there, who's going to be left? The corporate like deep pocket corporate companies.
You know what? It's not even
like you're not going to have a Borderlands book. So you're not going to have anything with any character. You're going to have McDonald's and KFC in there because they can afford to do all this. But that doesn't make it better.
Right. Well, and it's not even that like
suck it, Friedman.
It's not even that that those businesses don't deserve to be there or anything like that. Like like a cool like sci-fi bookshop is, as far as I'm concerned, a valuable part of a community.
It's got personality.
Sure, and like, but at the same time, given the realistic situation as it exists today, to say, well, you know what, I deserve to make money off of this purely because I'm willing to throw my employees like under the bus and like fuck them. like that's ridiculous. Like you can't, as passionate as you are, and as like, and like this applies to the restaurant industry too. Like like no matter how passionate you are about your idea and your food and everything like that, the fact that you would like run to your employees and say like, I want you to fucking make less money, like as a way for you to survive is shitty.
Here's a rule.
It's terrible.
Here's a rule for your coffee shops and your restaurants. If you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant a lot, and they constantly have new employees, that place sucks.
Right.
Because they're basically like making it hard for those people to stick around.
Yeah.
And none of those people want to stick around. But the thing is, they miss out on it because like people love to go to places where they know people.
Of course.
It's not going to be like a new face every time. Like the best bars are the ones where you know the bartenders, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So There you
well,
go.
that'll all change with robot bartenders. Thank God.
By the way, can I just say one more thing about bartenders? I have this kind of cute story. I was trying to get this bartender on to guest today on the show. Andrew, did you have a good 420?
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay,
no big deal.
I'm going to bring the room down a little bit first, and then I'm going to bring it back up. It's kind of a
Okay.
quick story. So everybody loves 420 because you get to smoke pot and all that stuff. I
Right.
hate 420 because it's the day that my cat died.
Aw.
So
really?
yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so
Harris
was-
Whittles' birthday as well.
it's also it's also Hitler's birthday. And it's also my little brother's birthday. So, like, I hate... Like, when my little brother was born, I was like, okay, I think I can celebrate Hitler's birthday. And then, like, I was like, it's not Hitler's birthday, it's my brother's birthday.
Right.
And then Harris Whittles dies, and then, Harris Whittles' birthday, and then my cat, my best friend I've ever had,
Right.
dies. So, it was Sunday night, and, like, I had been kind of, like, not looking forward to this. Comes, like, midnight, Sunday night, right?
Did you go to the Doug Benson 420 Ivan Hernandez show?
I did not.
No? All right.
Yeah, I was the guy in the back crying.
Right. Oh, okay. Excellent.
So
you were the guy shouting, "Who the fuck are you, Ivan Hernandez?"
Which, by the way, comics never get tired of hearing, "Who the fuck are you?" So
Sorry, go ahead.
It turns midnight. I'm playing pinball with some friends.
Right.
Turns midnight. Suddenly, I realize, oh, this is the day a year ago my cat died.
Yeah.
So I get really emotional. I got to get out of here. Went home. Just like leading up to it, I was like totally fine. Just had this like tsunami of emotion. Just started crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, okay. So then like a friend of mine who's a bartender is like, hey, she's like, I'm out. Like, you want to like meet up with me and Sean, this other guy who's a bartender? And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. I really need to get out. I can't be doing
Right,
so
right.
but I went, put like eye drops in my eyes and
Right.
just masked the whole thing that I'd been crying for an hour, and then like went out and met them. And my friend Annie, she's been drinking all day. She's totally hammered, and she's just like super sloppy, yeah, and telling me these stories, this and that. Then she just kind of turns to me and looks at me and she goes, You're sad. You've been crying. And I was like, yeah, how'd you know? She's like, I'm a bartender. I know these things. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, you okay? So I told her the whole thing. She's like, yeah. And then she goes to the bathroom. The other guy that she's with comes out. He's a bartender as well. He looks at me and he goes, whoa, are you all right? I can't believe how perceptive. Sometimes you think like bartenders,
Right.
like that art of like sort of reading people in bartenders, or it's kind of gone because
I think,
everybody's on their
it's
cell phone now.
Like almost like you can't help it at some point.
Dude, like the two people, and believe me, I tried to mask it really hard.
Right.
But like these two people who had both been drinking all day, were both hammered. Like they'd see through all that fog and just be like, they could read me immediately. They were like, "Oh my God, you're sad."
You really shouldn't have worn your T-shirt that said like, "Please ask me about my cat."
Exactly. I had that hat that said, "My best friend is dead."
Not sad about anything. Like, what does that even mean?
But so like I know I've said this before, but like when I didn't have a phone, I talked to a bartender once, and he was telling me that the bartending game has changed so much because you used to have to be personable, and you used to have to talk to people and like listen to people, and now
Now you have to
everybody's
be,
on
like,
their
technical.
everybody's on their fucking cell phone. People get mad if you don't just bring them their beer fast
Right.
enough. And so that's all totally out of the game. But there still exists that bartenders can read you.
Yeah, totally. And like,
It's,
I think like good ones always will. I think like hopefully.
And like I'm sure like that it works in many different directions. They could both tell that I was sad, but also they can like be behind a bar and just be like, that guy is an asshole and he's going to be a problem.
Well, hopefully they can like at least program that into the robot bartenders that will take over.
Oh no, they can never do that. the Blade Runner of bartending. You want to take a break?
Yes, please.
I'm done with my sad story. Let's come back. We'll do our final segment about the bar.
Sure.
And then we'll wrap it up. This is SFBarkast, and we are at TripleVoodoo.
Voodoo, what you done said to people.
All right, and we are back at the TripleVoodoo.
TripVood.
TripVood
TV.
TV to some of you newbies out there. Andrew, do you have any bad Yelp reviews for this place? By the way, I just want to say tasting that we've had
Yeah.
has gone quite well.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, if you like tasting things.
I like it, and
Yeah.
also I feel like I'm a little bit loopy now.
Ooh, well, hello.
So there you go, ladies.
All right. Bad Yelp review number 1 comes from Kurt N. of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm not 100% convinced that this bad review isn't a joke, but it should be.
Okay, so we're going to read a bad Yelp review from
Yes.
some jackass from Atlanta about a place in
Or as I like to call
Dogpatch.
it, Hotlanta.
Hotlanta.
Right.
Also, not to interrupt you, but like I
Dirty
said, like
South.
we are in Dogpatch,
Right.
and this bar is dog friendly because
It
I can
is.
tell there's this dog that keeps eyeing me at the end of the bar.
Right.
That it's got like this amazing tail. You never have to do any dusting when this dog is around.
Probably not.
Okay, so whatever. Did I derail your stupid little story?
Not at all. Kurt from Atlanta says, maybe joking, maybe not. Complete Google Glass ban when the place is empty equals instant 1. People who are afraid of technology don't deserve my business.
Oh, yes.
I know, it's
Yes,
great, isn't it?
I love this guy. Oh my God, I so want people like this idiot to really voice themselves out there and just it's what it's like. It's like those like times where people post something like they rip out their camera phones and they're like, oh my God, I can't wait until the public gets to see what I'm exposing here.
Right.
And they end up exposing that they're the dickheads.
Right.
It's like the pizza joint in like Massachusetts. Oh no, it was the used car like lot that like stiffed like the pizza guy. And they're like, we got this all on tape. We're going to put it on YouTube. And then like there was like these bros.
Who cares? Go ahead.
There were these bros in Dolores Park who the park ranger or whatever came around and told them they had to clean up their stuff. And one of them accused him of being prejudiced towards them. And he's like, I've got it all on my phone. And then posted it on the internet.
Right.
And people were just like, yeah, you're the dick. Or those guys who were trying to kick out those soccer kids. Like those,
Right. Yeah, it's like they always wind up recording themselves somehow, like where it's like, I'm going to show everybody, and like everyone looks at it and is like, yeah, it's fucking
Yeah,
you,
you're a dick.
Right.
And in the very same vein, this guy who's just like, oh my God, they have a Google Glass ban. People who are afraid of people aren't afraid of technology. They don't want douchebaggery in their bar.
Right. Like, but I mean, this should be like collected and like.
Absolutely.
Because it'll be like some guy saying like they wouldn't allow me in with my Commodore 64. Like,
I tell you, I don't know what that guy does for a living, but I know it's not PR.
Probably not.
Because he would be the worst.
So that's it. That's it for my.
That's the only bad Yelp
of the
review.
week.
I mean, how long has this place been open?
Not that long.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they'll get their chance.
There was one other one that I saw, but like it was like this long-winded, and it's one of those like we went here on like a Yelp night out or whatever, and like so like 90 of us showed up at once and they had bad service. And it's like, well, what the fuck did you expect, you asshole? Like,
and
they somehow didn't hire 20 extra people for one night, like based on like my nerd ass showing up.
I feel like I'm always like shortchanging like new bars that we go to and if they don't know, we do bad Yelp reviews every episode.
Right.
And they don't have enough bad Yelp reviews for us to make fun of.
Well, yeah, there we go.
So you know what? Like, apologies to TripleVoodoo, but don't worry. You'll have like more bad Yelp reviews, and we will be there to make fun of those assholes.
That's right. We promise to come back when you have a better quality of bad Yelp review.
Oh, like if Yelp were to go away tomorrow, I would just be like, oh no.
Oh
no,
God.
This could be.
Oh.
It's like
Why?
I heard
Why?
I heard this interview with this sports writer, and it was before Tim Tebow had signed with the Eagles. By the way, my apologies to all Eagle fans.
Right.
And it was way before that, and like someone asked him, "There's this rumor, unsubstantiated rumor, that Tim Tebow is going to sign with a NFL team," and the guy just paused and just said, "Please make that happen." Please, it's like
Right.
as a sports writer, you're just like, it's just such a beautiful gift. And I feel the same way about bad Yelp reviews. So people still keep getting offended that nobody like served you at 2:05 in the morning.
Exactly.
Keep writing.
Perfect.
Do you have any plugs for this week?
I do. There's a couple things that I checked out and would like to plug, and one of them is the Major Lazer Show, which I believe is on FXX. But it's this like sort of like Major Lazer's been around for a little while. He's like
This is the first I've heard of it.
well, he's a sort of dance music Jamaican performer, but like now he has this animated show that's like all about like fucking like crazy weed trips and stuff like that. Where like clearly FXX is trying to out Adult Swim.
Yeah,
and like this is their sort of like
Fox has theirs as well.
Yeah,
where like the Lucas brothers and all that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so like this is like clearly something like that. But like I watched it and like it fucking blew my mind. I loved it. And
if you're gonna plug Major Lazer,
okay,
I'm gonna plug the
Neil
band.
deGrasse Tyson.
I don't know. I'm gonna plug the band Laser Sword, which are my friends Brian and Antaeus. And I remember like seeing these guys at parties, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we do this. It's kind of like a, Mastercraft kind of thing, but they're really good." And when like friends of yours are like, "Yeah, we're starting to do like this DJ kind of thing," you're like, "Oh, that's." You almost want to pat them on the head and be like, "That's so cute. That's nice."
Right.
But these guys are actually really good, and they've
Right.
got like a lot of like popularity. So check out Laser Sword.
I feel the same way about definitely check out Laser Sword, and like I feel the same way about friend of the show Anthony Petrovich.
Oh yeah,
he released I think on the internet like a 5-song EP from his band named Primo Van Halen.
Ooh, on the internet.
Like yeah, damn right. And so check that out. Primo Van Halen, and he also owns and runs a record shop in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, called
Reanimator.
There we go.
Wasn't he also in the band Blind Tiger?
Easy Tiger.
Easy Tiger.
And before that, I think Jar Wars or something like that.
Jar Jar Binks Wars.
Something like that.
Oh,
and also, I don't know, Mad Men, Silicon Valley, Veep, and Daredevil, the TV series, is actually pretty good.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's not bad.
I'll see. There's somebody, a friend of ours, like posted today. This is the reason why comic book nerds hate Superman versus Batman.
Okay.
And I accidentally clicked on the link, and then I realized that it's like this huge diatribe. So of course I didn't read it. But here's
what it says.
In my mind, if true comic book nerds hate something,
right,
it's got to be good.
Yeah,
so
you're probably right.
That's I mean, not to be. Here's the thing: like I have such a hate relationship with Hollywood right now,
right.
And it's because all these comic. They basically handed the keys of the industry over to the comic book nerds,
sure.
And now they're fighting over like legitimacy of stupid shit. Well,
right.
And it's all bad movies. I mean, unless it's like the second X-Men movie or like the Christopher Nolan Batman. And oh my God, like when I listen to comic book nerds like talk about how bad like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies are, I'm just like, oh my God, like you are a different person. And like. I long for the days when these people knew their place and they knew that they were going to get beat up if they mouthed off in front of like real people. Well, and now we have to like act like the Avengers. Now we have to act like the Fantastic Four is going to be good,
right.
Even though the first two movies were fucking horrible. We have to act like the Avengers movie is going to be good when it's really like whatever. It's just like another fucking like mega movie.
Right, like you're gonna feel like you're watching a video game and like. And then less interest.
And then to like top it off, I gotta listen to these motherfuckers talk shit about how they didn't like Interstellar. Oh my God. Go enjoy your Age of Voltron movie and leave the fucking hard sci-fi to the adults. So there we go. I didn't think I was going to get worked up today, but
How much money does Stan Lee need, really? Like,
oh, I can't wait for the next Stan Lee fucking cameo appearance. Isn't that going to be fucking hilarious? Fuck you guys.
all right. Well, search Barkast on iTunes.
I had one more thing. Someone asked me a long time ago. I think we both agreed the 30 at 30 sports on ESPN, the documentaries. Yeah, comic book nerds, sports. How do you think all your fucking favorite people in the world got that yoked? I can't leave it alone. So on ESPN, they have this 30 at 30 documentaries. And somebody asked me a long time ago, if you could do a 30 at 30, what would it be?
Ooh.
Which I think it's a great question. And I think the ones that I had immediately that came to mind, like the Malice at the Palace, I think they've already done that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they have.
But
I would probably, I would want to see a complete breakdown of like what happened to everybody on the 1979 Seattle Sonics championship winning team.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sonics...
Because I think that there would be like this... I mean, like, this is like the late 70s, so you have this like weird ABA crossover, like, you know, a lot of players smoking pot. Everyone wants to be a pimp. Like, everyone wants to be like fucking like...
Did they do an ABA one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because that's got to be... That's got to be chocolate.
I mean, like,
and you know what? Like, I agree with you because when, like, the NBA really like hit the scene with Bird and Magic, right?
Yeah.
So like the Sonics, who won in '79, was the last of like the sort of like kind of inconsequential.
Oh yeah, totally.
teams.
Yeah.
And it's like before that, it was like the Washington Bullets.
Right. Yeah.
And so like but nobody
the last time the Trailblazers won, and like Golden State Warriors, like
nobody talks about those. Yeah, the Trailblazers. Nobody talks about all that stuff because that seems like it's ancient history. Even though it was like 2 years before Bird and Magic. Then you had Bird, Magic, Dr. J, and they handed the torch to
Jordan.
Yeah. And it's just been like gangbusters ever since. But the NBA before Bird and Magic was kind of like an afterthought.
Yeah.
And I love it. It makes me think that there's like great stories in there.
Oh, totally. Yeah, because like you had like this sort of like weird like it just started to like sort of make money. And like, but like before that, it was just kind of like all like flash. It was like
That's a good answer, and I can't believe you came up with it because my friend Roberto asked me this question like maybe 2 years ago, and I finally have an answer. And my answer, and it is motivated by the manager of the Reds this week, who had this like crazy meltdown where he used the word "fuck" like 77 times.
I heard
in
it.
one interview, and it's like this is one of the things that. Like, if you know me, you know I love watching adults have, like, nervous breakdowns.
I'm a man. God damn it.
Oh, yeah. I love nothing more than... And you only see it in sports.
Right.
And, like, when I was...
We let him off a hook.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. You just, like, it would have to be a 2-hour episode of people just, like, losing their minds. Like, grown men losing their minds. Or, like, Earl Weaver. Like, have you heard that Earl Weaver, like, interview where someone asked him, like, like, they're taking... like questions from like listeners, and they're like, "Oh, this guy wants to know when you're going to get more team speed." And Earl Weaver's like, "Fucking team speed?" He's like, "You got these little fucking ants like running around the bases, taking fucking runs away from you. Fuck 'em. Maybe you should let me manage the fucking team." And the guy's just like, "Oh well, here's another question. Alice from like Baltimore wants to know when's the best time to plant tomatoes." And Earl Weaver goes, "That lady should be worrying about where her next fucking lay is coming from, not when to like, plant tomatoes." He's like, maybe if she got herself out into the bars once in a while, she'd get a prick stuck in her. and like, you don't see this anywhere else in life. Nobody ever has nervous breakdowns, and I love them so much so that when it starts to happen, like I go, oh, it's happening.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to hang up.
And so I would love to like just put together something like you mentioned Denny Green. Also, one of my favorites was when John Calipari was coaching at UMass. Like John Chaney, who was the coach of Temple
Right.
at the press conference afterwards burst into the room and started screaming, "I'm gonna kill you!" I'm gonna to Calipari. He's like, "I'll kill you! I'll kill you!" And then they had to restrain him and pull him out. And then like he supposedly he had a press conference like 2 days later, and like he was super apologetic, where he was just like, I don't know what came over to me, and he's like if you think this is bad, my wife and my daughters, none of them have talked to me since I did that. And it's like that's like one of those things where you're like, oh yeah,
Right.
like you were
consequences.
You were acting like a fucking lunatic. Like there's no
I feel
way.
like John Chaney's like the only person that could like tell off Bill Cosby and be like, "What you did to those women was wrong," and he'd be like, "Oh my God, I guess it was."
Yeah, and like when I was a kid in Catholic school, teachers would have like nervous breakdowns like routinely, and I remember thinking, oh, that's what adulthood is like. And then I got out of high school and I realized, oh no, I don't do that. Like nobody does this. And
No, those are just assholes that have to hang around with kids.
The only other island of that insanity is sports, like coaches,
Right.
and I love it when they go crazy. I don't know. I can't overstate it enough. So there we go. That's my 30 to 30.
Great.
I'm sorry, we're going long here.
Yeah, whatever.
Our apologies to invite them up.
Put your hands together.
I don't have anything else. I was going to ask you, what do you prefer, sexy librarians or sexy nurses?
Tie.
When you think about it, like those are like two occupations that they're like, oh, like we'll try to make this sexy, right?
Right, yeah.
Because like there's a local comic he said he was dating a nurse, and that whole like sexy nurse thing, where
Right.
like people are, when you dress up like a sexy nurse, you have the short skirt and the big hair and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when you date a nurse and she gets back from work, she's wearing these like blood-stained OR scrubs. There's like nothing about this where you're like, ooh, you want to get it on? It's like, I watched 3 people die today. Do I want to get it on? I don't know.
I like the idea that she's wearing bloody scrubs home. She's like, I can't leave this at work. I
sake
gotta
of
like
the-
ride the subway and like grind on other people.
For the sake of the joke, Andrew, come on. Well, okay, so what is your final analysis, Phil Giuano, of this bar? Andrew, louder.
I think that while it looks like a regular business from the outside, like there's not a whole lot of flair to it, but overall, the beer is decent, and
I thought the beer was pretty good.
yeah. Like, you know what?
But the thing is, I'm speaking from somebody who hasn't drank beer in like
There we
6
go,
months.
yeah, like-
You
No,
give me
but
a-
like-
you give me a cracker, I'd be like, that's a great cracker.
I like like overall I like the beer. Like it's like I say, it's decent. It's an okay addition to this neighborhood, I suppose.
All right, enough of that shit. I think it's great. I think first off, I think it's a great space. And we got here in the afternoon, and the people are starting to walk up the street to go to the Giants game.
Right.
And the bartenders here are super friendly.
Yeah.
And it's got that great smell of hops here. My only issue would be like it's not if I lived in this neighborhood, I would come here.
Yeah.
But it's not a destination.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, it's like there's not a whole lot around here.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's what makes Dog Patch cool.
It's probably a good alternative if you're like I actually haven't been to Magnolia Brewery, like which is like up the street from here, but that's nearby, and their Magnolia's little like charcuterie. Like
I know
is
when I
nearby.
would come here. Like if you were at Bloom's and you were sick
Right.
of getting insulted by the bartender, you could just walk down the
Well,
hill.
shit, that's me most days of the week.
You could just walk down the hill, come here, and have a good time.
Exactly. There we go.
So there we go. I'm
Or,
going to give it a thumbs up.
Or previous episode, the Dog Patch Saloon,
The Dog Patch Saloon as well.
another
Right.
good one.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. What about you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
there
it
we go.
10 stars out of 30.
All right, sounds good. So I guess that's it. Let's sign off.
right.
I am Jeff Cleary,
I am Andrew Louder.
and we'll see you next time on SF Barkast.